Hey, Delaware. Welcome back to another episode of That Delaware podcast. And we are officially in summer. And look at us. We are just dressed appropriately.
The weather's not quite reflecting the summer attitudes that we have quite yet, but
This is true.
we're willing it. I think it's going to get hot this week. So by the time you're listening to this, we're gonna be in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And wishing it was cold again. But we tried to have a summery weekend. I've been talking a lot about ice cream on this podcast. So
We love ice cream.
this weekend my mom was visiting, and I haven't done an ice cream road trip with the kids in a while, so we took your suggestion and hit up UDairy at the University of Delaware, which I had never been to their standalone location. When I was in college, they had UDairy, but they weren't like operating out of a shop. So I used to work at like the Harrington Mart on the University of Delaware campus, and we would sell it there. So it was cool to like see how far that they've come in the 15 years since I've graduated college. But we got our ice cream. The weather was nice. It was like a warm day, like some cloud coverage. We went in to get our ice cream, came out, and there was like a full-on windstorm, and it had dropped like 10 degrees in like the 10 minutes that we were inside, and people were sitting on the benches, and like literally ice cream was blowing out of their cups. It was crazy. So we ended up like throwing away most of our ice cream because we couldn't be outside. It was wild. So that was the universe telling us that we jumped the gun.
Do they have a place where you could like go inside and stuff?
Not really. There's like one counter, and there was and lots of people had the same idea. The line was out the door, but people were doing the same thing. People's ice cream was blowing sideways. I wish I had pictures of it. But then yesterday we made up for it, because yesterday Woodside Farms had their fire department appreciation day, and so we went and with some friends and got Woodside and climbed into the fire trucks. So we're getting there.
That sounds awesome.
We're getting to full on ice cream weather.
I love Woodside, but we actually had ice cream yesterday too.
You got it.
We went to Sweet Nell's in North Wilmington, and I didn't order anything. I was like, I'm just gonna have a bite of yours. To my husband, he was like, he knows me better than that. I have never had an affogato, which is vanilla ice cream and espresso and whipped cream with like chocolate shavings.
And this is that night that you went to?
This is at night.
Okay.
And I was like, don't do it, Kristen. I definitely had way more than one bite. It was so good. It was amazing, honestly.
Did
10 out of
keep
10.
you up last night?
It did. I got zero sleep last night. I regretted it all night long,
Aw.
but I'm still thinking about it in the morning. So
I didn't even think about like the caffeine effect. I just thought like your stomach was hurting because you ate ice cream, but
my stomach doesn't hurt from ice cream. I get like a child that shouldn't have sugar bread, and I'll get tired, and then it'll be like I fall asleep, and then an hour later I am wide awake, and there is no going back to bed.
Well, as soon as you said
It's ridiculous.
espresso, that's what made me think like, oh, how late were you up?
I wasn't even thinking.
I saw past 2.
I mean, I remember being in my 20s and being able to like pound a Monster at like 10 p.m. to study for a test and then go to sleep with no problem. And now if I have coffee at like noon, I'm like, uh-oh, it's going to be trouble tonight.
Yeah, if I have Coke after 4, I'm like, never sleeping.
My
I
cutoff
feel like
is
I'm
like 2
not.
p.m.
Yeah, I'm not. Like, I feel like I can drink a coffee and go to bed.
Oh gosh, I
Absolutely
wish.
not.
Huh.
Like that's when I want it. It's in the evening when I got to power through bedtime routines.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
This conversation went in a different direction. Gotta go.
Really showing our age. I had fun this weekend. I had 2 of my clients had parties. One of them had a birthday / pride party, and they had a big water slide, and they're just the funnest people.
That is
So like
cool.
their parties are always amazing. They go all out. They had walking tacos and just like an array of foods. I was like, oh, we're just gonna go and stay a little while, and then next thing you know, like I'm enjoying myself, and I'm like, Chris, can you come pick up Austin? Like I wanted to have like a couple more, and then so he came to pick her up. And then I had another client's party. They had a housewarming party. They moved in like 3 weeks ago. And so it was so cool to see like everything they had done in a short amount of time. The house was vacant when they purchased it, and they got all new furniture and painted some rooms, and it's amazing. Like I was meeting with sellers yesterday, and I was just telling them like when you sell your house, if you're out, depending on the situation for them, like I recommend on staging, because it just really showcases the room. It actually looks smaller without furniture. And so I walked into their house on Saturday and I was like, holy crap. Like and they got big furniture too. Like they had this huge sectional in the living room, and then downstairs they had like these oversized like chair and sofa, but it looked so good. I was like, this looks amazing.
Yeah, 3 weeks is an impressive turnover to be able to furnish a whole house and be able to host a party.
Yeah.
It stresses me out to think about, but good on them.
Legit. But yeah, everything looked amazing. And it's just so cool to like go through this process with them and then see them living in their house and enjoying it. And it was like two different aspects, right? Like they had just moved in and they get to like show this to like their friends and their family. And they really, worked hard for this. And then the Roses, they have been there for 2 or 3 years. And just that was a hard time for them, like choosing where they wanted to be. They fought Middletown so hard. And I immediately, when I met them, I was like, you're Middletown. Like, that's where you need to be based on what you're telling me. And they were like, no, Middletown. And they're in Middletown. And they're in their dream home. And they are just, I mean, the house is amazing. The way they have it set up, like they are just living
And Middletown
their
has
best life.
Middletown has probably changed so much in like the 3 years that they've lived there that maybe it's kind of aligned now more with what they wanted.
Yeah. I mean, they're just building down there. They're adding more stuff. So I mean, yeah.
I went through one of my clients bought a house last summer, and they were really excited. When we did when we looked at the public records, we realized that they actually owned the like little patch of grass. It's in the city. They own the like little patch of grass across the sidewalk, and they had like big dreams for like having a little wildflower pollinator garden there, and they didn't get around to doing it last summer, but they just posted pictures that they finally did it. And it's so cool to see like your clients who shared their dream and their vision for the space when you were touring homes with them.
Yes.
When you see them actually like make it happen for themselves.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Oh, and I got to tell you guys this. So I texted you guys this. So they have like this like bar area outside on their deck. And one of their gifts to me was like a little name plaque, and it says Amber Spot. And so it's still there. Like it's legit. Like it's not going anywhere. It's my spot. So it's so cool to like be like hanging out with like friends and family. And I heard them like telling the other like friends and family, oh yeah, that's our realtor Amber. Like this is like one of the gifts we got her. And I like screamed through the screen door. I'm like, who's in my spot? They're like laughing. But I'm like, yeah, this is like, I don't know. It's just amazing to be like full circle.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So today's topic, we're going to get into online comparison. Right. So like we talk about like all these good things and we share all these good things mostly, right, on social media. Some of us are a little more raw than others, like Caitlin and I. Sometimes we're like oversharing, right? And then we're like, oh, should I delete that? And most of the time we don't. But I think this is something like when we talked about this topic, we talked about this being something that everyone struggles with. And I don't care who you are, you are as successful as you may be, you are looking online and you're seeing, whether maybe it's not success, maybe it's family, maybe it's, whatever it is, like everybody experiences.
Well, I love that phrase that you shouldn't compare your real life to someone else's highlight reel.
Absolutely.
Because what you're seeing online isn't necessarily reflective of what's really happening. And I remember a few weeks ago, or it was a couple months ago now, I went through just a hard situation. It was like a buyer that had something terrible happen, and like they ended up like backing out from a deal. And this isn't something I would ordinarily share. I normally share just sold or like, yay, we got the pre-approval. But I really wanted to like go on to my Instagram and talk about like how hard this was and how hard I've worked for this client. And it was just like such a blow. And I got a lot of response being like, thank you so much for sharing that, because I went through something similar too. And like I forget that other people that I see online, like in real estate, we don't work collaboratively with each other that much. We're mainly just seeing what each other shares on social media, and like we're seeing everyone's wins. But we forget that people are having quiet losses and things that they're not necessarily publicizing. So I like to do my part to like keep it real and publicize like when things are a little bit hard.
You do a good job of that.
Yeah, even yesterday when we were at Woodside Farms, I wanted like a picture of me and the kids because like no one ever takes pictures of the moms.
True.
So I was with a couple other mom friends, and one of them was trying to take a picture of the kids, and like both of my kids were just like making faces, and I posted one of those like
We tried.
crappy pictures of. I mean, it's not crappy because there's a lot of love in that picture, but I was like, we tried to get a picture, but we're not posting the like stylized like professional photos. We're posting the real stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the in the moment stuff.
Yeah.
That's what people, I think, really want to see.
Yeah, as a new agent, Jenna, do you find that like you're just looking at everyone's like successes on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, and just like finding it hard not to like compare your own journey to that? I remember that.
Yeah, I am actually. I'm like, oh, here's this person again. And not in like a ugh kind of way, but it's like, it's a place that I want to get to, you know?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to sell 5 houses in a week? You know, not that that's realistic, but
No, it's realistic. But you'll be pulling your hair out.
yeah.
But also it's stressful. It takes time to get there. So that's another thing. Like if you're on year 1, you can't be comparing yourself to someone who's on year 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's hard just because that's a natural thing to do. Like when you see something, like, you know, that's your goal, you know, that's where you want to get to. So you're, you know, just trying to get there.
yeah.
So it's a natural thing to do that,
Absolutely.
but you just have to keep in your mind, you know, separate what's reality, what's not,
Yeah.
which is hard, but
And you can turn that into motivation, right? You're like, all right, that's where I want to be. And you have to have that conversation with yourself that like, this is my year 1. And it could be in your career. It can be in health and fitness. It can be in parenting. Oh my God. Can we talk about comparison with parenting online?
Yes.
Like, gosh, like it's just like everything. And you have to stop and you have to remind yourself, like, this is their highlight reel, right? Like, I can post on my Instagram story, like, this, like, cute part of my house where I have these flowers, but don't look behind the lens because there's a bunch of shit going on back there. Like, you know, I would be like, I would die if somebody walked in my house right now. It's a mess. You know what I mean? I tell my clients that. I'm like, listen, if I had to list my house, the list that I have to do would be, I mean, we're talking months and months and months of work. So we have to remind ourselves of that regardless of the category. Like Caitlin said, it is everyone's literal highlight reel, right?
Oh, yeah.
Very seldom do we see people posting raw, honest things. Not that the happiness isn't honest, but like, I mean, you know, who wants to go on there and be a downer? Sometimes that's what I think when I want to be like real and raw sometimes. And I'm like, I feel like I want to share this, but I also don't want to be a downer. Yeah, it's hard. It's like,
I feel like I was just thinking as you were talking, I feel like you and I kind of, because, well, first of all, we run our businesses similarly, Amber, and also, even though our clients come from different places, but also like our kids are similar ages. So you were just saying before that you like admire how I like speak to my kids, but I feel like there was a time when we didn't know each other that well, where like you would say that to me and like you would have no idea that I was like losing my temper every single day because I was like so overstimulated. And
I didn't. When you told me some things,
Yeah.
I was like, you?
yeah.
I was like idolizing like your parenting. I was like, what would Caitlin say to like her kids right now? And then you were like, oh my God, no, I totally lost my shit the other night. And I was like, oh, well, that makes me feel better.
And I think I do a good job of like apologizing to my kids, but I'm definitely not like a gentle parent like all the time.
You no, but you do help when we talk things out
Yeah.
as a group. Like you do help me sometimes just put myself in my 11-year-old's perspective and like walk me off of a ledge so that I'm like calmer.
But along the same veins, like I look at you guys and like I have a lot of like guilt about the fact that I didn't do a ton of activities with my kids this year. My kids are 4 and 6, so like we have plenty of time for that. But like I so admire like how you're out there every weekend and like helping your kids pursue like an activity that they're very passionate about. And like you, Amber, are taking your kid to like all of these amazing restaurants and places, and like sometimes that feels like an overwhelming prospect for me. But then like
It's different taking your one kid
That's true.
versus two kids to a restaurant. So let me just say that.
but also so when we see like the highlight reel of like, oh, here's my kid like walking around a festival, and I'm like, oh, we watched like 3 hours of TV today, and then you realize that like there maybe was a lot of like headaches behind that, or there's
There
a lot of
was.
sacrifice behind.
We
the sports.
constantly are like, do we really like soccer? Because if we don't like soccer, we could be saving a lot of time and money.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we really enjoy it.
Right. Because behind that, you're like, just when I take Austin out to like eat with us, I'm like, you're being very ungrateful right now. Do you know how many kids would I would have, when I was younger, I would have loved to go out to a restaurant. That was like a big deal for us. And you are so ungrateful. But then we're like, say cheese. Everybody look, we're having a great time.
That was a big deal growing up for us, because my mom would like to compare like our family situation to like other families around us who maybe were in a different like socioeconomic status. And I feel like my brother and I both get like very triggered when we're like, when our situation is compared, like when your parent goes like, oh, I heard so and so is married, like, oh, are you gonna get married, like, do you guys have any plans? I saw that so and so's daughter is having a baby, are you gonna have a baby? So I don't want to do that to my kids.
Yeah.
Speaking to that, so I grew up in a house that always had to be clean and tidy, and we really didn't have friends over because it had to look a certain way. God, I hope my mom's not watching. But
Real and roll, remember?
my house is never clean and tidy, and it's, I
Full of love and fun.
hope. But I feel like we do almost the opposite of, and it's not styled. Like the house I grew up in was like perfectly styled. But if I were to list my house, everything would have to go. We'd have to stage it because nothing matches. I'd be pulling Caroline in a heartbeat. Make my house look amazing, because that's just not the way it is in my home.
Your house does feel like a home though. When I was in there recently, and it's beautiful, and like you guys, it's clearly full of love.
Thanks. Yeah, it's the master bedroom is not like everything is no. It's like all mismatched furniture. Like our kids' rooms are actually nicer than our furniture is all hand-me-down stuff that's half broken, but the kids' stuff is all like good.
But these things take time, right? Like, so like your house also like looks a lot better now than it did. Like you guys recently got carpet and you painted, right? And it's like, everybody like moves into a house and thinks that it has to be like beautiful immediately. And it's just like,
Took us 10 years.
no. Yeah, exactly. Like I remember I didn't have curtains up for years. I was like, I can't commit to a curtain. Now I have like some white ones up, right? So it's like I really couldn't commit. But it took me a while to get my bathroom done. I have a crappy little kitchen that like I'm like, we need to get this done, but like, and you see kitchens on, social media, and you're like, "Ugh, why is my or like we see beautiful kitchens all the time. You're like, oh, my kitchen is crap.
You want to be a bowl of lemons kitchen? I'll never be a bowl of lemons kitchen. But yeah, like when I was married, I feel like that was a kind of like a big pain point, is like I wanted a house that felt like it was like a home for everyone. And we kind of had like a little bit of a power struggle of like him wanting everything to like be aesthetically a certain way, which this is interesting, like gender dynamic. But like now that I'm on my own with the kids, like I have art all over the walls, and it doesn't necessarily like match, or like the corners of the papers are like curling up. But this is like the kind of home that I want, and it's not aesthetic at all. There's no component of my house that's aesthetic, but it definitely feels way more full of love.
Yeah. And I also remind myself that like we are in the thick of our lives when our kids are little, or if somebody doesn't have kids, and you have like, even when I didn't have kids, like I was in the thick of like work and trying to do this, and I worked out more, so I had going to the gym on my schedule. And it's just like, we have time and we don't, right? We don't never know when our time is up. But at the same time, when you have kids, it's like there is going to be a day when the house is quiet and it's clean.
And you're going to miss scooping up hot meals.
Yeah, and you're going to miss the chaos and all that. So it's like, I don't know. There are seasons of life. And like we were talking about, like we cannot compare our season to someone else's. Like we just have to enjoy where we are at. And I'm not perfect. I don't have it together. I'm a hot mess most days, right? But like I do my best and I just try to better myself every day.
And my best advice, and this is something that's really benefited me, especially since entering the real estate world, is if there's someone I find myself like comparing myself to, I just want to befriend that person. Like if I am like watching someone and just like wondering how their life looks the way it looks, I just get to know them better. And like a lot of times I'll get advice and life hacks from that, but I'll also learn that things aren't always how they look from an outsider's view.
Hmm. I think that's the case a lot of the times. It's really not how it looks. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes things.
Yeah.
And to Amber's point, like you're living your life. So, while you're saying like, oh, don't look behind the lens, the pile of stuff, like only you know that that's there. But look at your nice weekend you got to have. You got to go to client parties.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to give yourself a break and you're living life. Like, who cares about the pile of
That's a
papers
better use of
behind
your
the
time
scenes?
than cleaning up a pile of stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was so perfectly
Absolutely.
because also to your point, like one of these days we won't we won't have the chaos. I will not be well when we're not doing soccer 7 days a week. So like somebody will need to check on me. I will not be well.
Are you
and
still
I
gonna
complain
drive
about it all the time
to the
because
soccer
I have
field?
no free time. But yes, I won't be well. I will miss these days. I know I will. But that was so well said because the memories that are made are and nobody's documenting it. Nobody's necessarily taking a photo of every moment of that memory, but your kids are remembering it. That's
Mhm.
core memories for them. You're going to be able to look back on these times and like
Mm-hmm.
relive those moments in your mind, like way better use of your time.
Well, and I hear people say sometimes, oh, I'm not enjoying my life or I'm not living my life for myself because they're too stuck in that pile of papers behind the lens. But now you get to say, oh, I just went to my client's party and it was great to see full circle. So I think that's
Yeah.
what's important.
Like I had so much fun this weekend. We made so many memories, and I go home and I'm like, what a shit show. Wow, we had a good time this weekend.
Have you guys heard the song Bigger Houses by Dan and Shay? A
Yes.
newly minted country music.
Yes.
But I feel like that song has been like resonating a lot for me lately because like I'm in like a tiny city rental and like I'm like, yeah, like I dream of having like the house that is my ultimate goal, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy where I am. And if I'm not happy here, I'm never going to be happy anywhere else. So I think it's important to make the most of the situation that you're in.
Mm-hmm. So funny you say that, and I know we're talking a lot about houses, but my friend Leanna tells everybody like she has 5 kids, and she moved 3 years ago into a big house in Middletown from a small house in Newcastle, and she's like, I honestly would just rather go back to that house because like her kids are now like getting older. Some of them have left. And she's like, I thought the bigger house would give me everything that I wanted and it didn't. So I'm just like, oh, and her house is beautiful. But yeah, it's true. Yeah. What else, like what else are we seeing or like have experience with like comparison?
I got a good one. And I remember when my oldest was younger and I posted this on Facebook and I had so much good feedback, but it's the birthday parties because
Oh my God.
I don't do fancy birthday parties, themed anything. Like if we're lucky if we're doing birthday parties, let's be honest, in my family. And I remember my kids being like, well, why can't we? And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but you just didn't get that kind of mom. Like, I am not that kind of mom. And I say that to them frequently about stuff, but like the themed, like all out crazy birthday parties, I kind of do feel down on myself sometimes because I don't give them that.
We
But
were just talking about this today, actually, because my son and I realized that today is his half birthday. We didn't realize, and I remember like what a big deal that is when you're a kid. Because my son is big in the comparison train, and his sister is about to graduate kindergarten, and he's very upset that he's not going to kindergarten next year. But so we're working on like comparing where they are in their young lives. But my kids' birthdays are a week apart. They had the same due date, but so they've only ever had like joint birthday parties. And he was like asking me about having like his own birthday party, and in my head I'm doing the math of like 2 Chuck E. Cheese birthday parties and he was like mentioning like friends of his that like they had their own birthday party and it was the theme that they wanted. And it's hard to explain to your kids that like there's a lot of families that do things differently, and that doesn't mean this fly really wants to be on the hot cast. I was trying not to draw attention.
It was for here earlier.
We have a little housefly that has something to say about comparisons.
I grew up always sharing a birthday with my
Yeah.
sister, and
Yeah, so we got to push that guilt aside and be like, they're gonna be fine with their
they'll be fine.
yeah.
Yeah. And I am one that like I have done the themed birthday parties. And I do love a good party. And I love planning a good party as much as like I'm like you with soccer. Like I complain about like
Yeah.
planning I've always planned like the birthday parties, the bachelorette parties, the bachelor or bridal showers, things like that. And I'm like a complete psycho while I'm planning it, but I'm like, it looks so good. But like, yeah, I've done like the big parties. I haven't done like I've seen the birthday parties where they like have like the all white moon bounce and like these ridiculous
aesthetic
like,
parties.
I'm like, that could have been like, how much was this birthday party? Holy,
Yeah. I
like,
feel like I still have like 90s prices in my head though. I'm like, I'm not paying more than like $400 max for a birthday party. And it like blows my mind when I see people paying $1,000. But if that's like important to them and what
well, and that's
they
the
do,
thing.
yeah.
Like, I'm not yucking somebody else's
Try
yum,
not
you know?
I'm trying not to hold myself to that standard because that's never going to be something that's going to be in my wheelhouse.
And I admire those, and I like when I go to those parties, I definitely compliment the mom because I know how hard she works on that.
Absolutely.
It's just not for me. It's
I'm like,
not
this is a
something
badass
I'm good at.
2-year-old birthday party. Like, this is nice.
I love that in like the mom groups when you see people like renting like a hall for their like 1-year-old's birthday party.
Listen, okay, so I
have a
did
big
that.
family.
I did that.
Yeah.
I did that. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love
I'm
a
not
good party.
hating on it, but I'm just like, wow, like I
We weren't going to do it. And then I was like, we just had so much support from everybody the first year of parenting. Like, so for us, it was like a thank you to everyone. And we wanted to get everybody together. So we did rent a hall. I even got a magician.
magician.
For the 1-year-old. But there's so many kids in our family.
gonna say, you have
and
a lot
there's
of-
so many
yeah.
kids that were going to be there. And I'm like, we need entertainment.
Yeah,
so of
this
course
tracks.
I'm hiring a magician and someone to make balloon animals.
This tracks, Amber.
And I'm like, honey, your first birthday party was a hit. We had catered tacos. Like it was beautiful. Anyway, that was me. So yeah, highly recommend the magician though. It like goes back. Actually, the Roses hired the same magician for their kid's birthday party. And I'm like, picture me flashback to where the hula hoop, remember I was telling you about the circus at the Delaware State Fair where I'm like, whoa, I'm like a little kid. That was me. Like this magician is so good.
Because my mom was that kind of mom. Like everything had to be a huge party and she would like stress herself out and like kind of make it like not fun. Ultimately, sorry, Mom, if you're listening, but I don't think she is.
Apologize.
I had a clown at my first 5 birthday parties, and the clown, I'm from New Jersey. The clown, her name was Bonabini Tetrazzini Fettuccine Alfredo. That was the name of the clown. And she was Jesse Eisenberg's mom, the actor Jesse
I was
Eisenberg
going to say, who's that?
of The Social Network.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. He's in a few things right now, but his mom was a clown in my first 5 birthday parties.
That is,
Wow.
And his sister was Hallie Eisenberg, who was in the movie Polly. These are very niche 90s references.
I remember the movie Polly.
Yeah.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, the Eisenbergs and I did the same like youth theater company in central New Jersey.
This fly is
Okay, so I think like obviously body image is one of them, right? Like online comparison. I think we could end with like speaking on that because I feel like a lot of people, I mean,
Sure.
a lot of
Everybody.
people,
It's probably the biggest one.
everybody. Yeah.
yeah. I personally like I've always been a bigger girl my whole life, so like it's like a joke. Maybe not so much for my friends, but like I've always like had to like learn how to like dress myself well and like feel comfortable in my skin. And like now like me and my friends are in our 40s and some of them have gained some weight and they've been like thin their whole life. And I'm like, listen, girl, you had your time to shine, okay?
Welcome.
Sorry. I don't feel bad for you. But no, I'm like, I actually do, because it is hard to try to dress yourself and make yourself look good and feel good. And I'm like, I've had my whole life to figure that out. And now you have to try to figure that out. And it like sucks. And when you're used to looking in the mirror at like your body a certain way, and then you're like, wow, like things are changing. But I mean, that it goes for all ages, right? So like basically like when you're young, like you have comparison. When you're older, you have comparison. And it's just like that is a thing that's like never, it's just always going to be there, right?
Especially now with things being edited. And I've been seeing, I mean, I guess I'm naive, but like, I didn't realize you can like edit videos. So I'll be like, well, like if you see like a celebrity's body, like you could edit the video.
And edit the video. Wow.
Yeah, you can like edit your body in a video. I didn't realize that technology had gotten to that point, but apparently it has. So yeah, I feel like I kind of like stay away from like body comparisons and stuff on social media, but knowing that kind of just like throws a whole other wrench in it. Like how can you compare yourself to something that like is probably being edited into oblivion?
Yeah. And I've tried to teach my daughter early on, like we are all different. We all have different bodies. We are all beautiful in our own way. And I love myself. Like my brother's even called me vain. He's like, you're actually lucky you aren't fit. Because he's like, you would be. And I'm like, maybe, I don't know. But I just think that, everybody is beautiful in their own way. And I want my daughter to know that. And I want her to appreciate her body, however it is. Like I even printed out these photos from Etsy, and it's like all these different kind of boobs and butts, and like just to show her that like, yes, we all have boobs. We all have like, but they're all different, right? And whatever ones you have, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Bodies are useful to us. They're not just like an aesthetic thing. They get us around, and they are strong, and they carry us through life.
Exactly.
That's what is important to teach the kids.
Yeah, I agree. But I am going to chime in here because Amber has helped me so many times dress myself, because it is a struggle. And I have told her, I'm like, you should have an Amazon shop, because there's so many people that struggle to find clothes that fit them, that they feel confident in, versus just baggy, because that's my go-to. I'm just going to go oversized.
I know. And I'm like, can we please just get clothes that fit you?
She will literally pick out and send me the link.
I did. I bought her like a ton of clothes. I'm like, all right.
I wish we had video footage of
everybody needs an Amber in their life. I would like hype them up and make them look good and feel good. Like
I am a hype girl, because everybody should have a hype girl.
I wish we had video footage of our shopping spree, our Rehoboth Marshall's shopping spree from the winter when we
after our
like team retreat, and we dressed you for the Pike Creek Mortgage what was it, the winter party.
I still haven't worn that black dress, but you guys,
we needed like a montage, like a outfit trying on montage of that event.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was fun.
That was so fun.
We always have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like this podcast has gone really long.
I know, because we can talk about this
Has
forever.
weighed us down, man.
But anyways, I mean, all that to say, you are not alone. We all go through it, right? We all have moments, right? And we can love ourselves as much as we want, right? Like I love myself. I'm very confident, but also like we all have insecurities, and it's hard to look at everybody's highlight reel and not get in your head. But just focus on you, where you're at, and try to do better every day and enjoy where you're at.
Yeah, love your life.
Yeah.
I love my life.
Me too.
Tears.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to That Delaware podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of That Delaware podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at That Delaware podcast, and our team page at RosaioTeam_real estate. And of course, if you have any real estate or Delaware questions, feel free to reach out.